This is my first time doing a YouTube video, so sorry if it's a little bit disjointed and the edit might not work very well, but we'll live and learn. I'm also really hungover and I've had a lazy day of having coffee, lying in bed, and so I actually thought I should probably do something productive with my rest of the day. Politics is in a really interesting place right now, and it's really exciting to be involved with that. It is scary, it makes me nervous. We have political divisions across the UK, across Europe, across the world, and it seems like most people are wanting to go further to the right or to the left and move out of this centre ground, and that is probably the most dangerous thing, that we're moving to one side of political theory, not the other. Yes, Europe isn't perfect, but it shows that by collaborating and working together we can collectively gain from that. We're trading with our closest neighbours, our allies, our friends, our family. We are European, that's undeniable, and yet politics seems to be dividing this, whether that is in the UK with Brexit, whether that's in America with the Trump administration building a wall, or maybe that's the Hungary issue, where in reaction to the migration crisis they just built walls to displace people and to stop people coming in. Politics in the UK is also really interesting, as we've had a few defections from the Labour Party and the Conservatives, where they've now sat as an independent group. But that's not really going to change politics. Politics is not going to be changed by a group of independent MPs sitting together. But it can change if people are interested in it. There's a strong voice for collaboration. We should be working with our friends, our colleagues, our families, our communities to bring people together. And that's why politics is failing, because it's not doing that. As our world shifts apart, it is important now, probably more than ever before, at least in my lifetime, that we do come together and talk about these issues. The reason that politics is so broken isn't because of Brexit. Brexit is the tip of the iceberg, and it represents what the issues are, but it's not in itself the be-all and end-all. What it does is it raises questions about how we represent ourselves in Parliament, how people think that their voices are heard, and whether or not they feel like they can trust these institutions that help shape our world. And what makes me really angry is the fact that people are more interested in reality TV shows than they are about the politics that affects their day-to-day life. Politics is not broken because of Brexit. It's broken because people don't believe that they can make the change that they wish to see. They're not inspired to get involved in politics and to campaign and to nail their colours to the mast. And that's what makes me really sad, is that you can be more interested in which drag queen was sent off a TV show and more angered by that than you can by a government taking us to the far left or to the far right, or categorically failing us on the single biggest issue that we face. We have a Conservative government that doesn't know what they're doing. We've had 2 years of silence. We have an opposition that has not held that government to account for 2 years. And suddenly Brexit is upon us. We're in March. And yet, all that matters is whether Manila Luzon went from Drag Race. Categorically, we need to look at our politics and reevaluate whether the system is working. It isn't, by the way, spoiler. But how do we change that? Whether that's through changing our electoral system to something that is actually proportional, that would mean that smaller parties may have a louder voice, but if anything, that's a good thing. You know, the Green Party campaigns on some great issues around climate change. The Lib Dems have some really great policies about equality and liberalism, because not one school of thought is going to cover everything. And that's probably my biggest concern. I was speaking to my friend about the independent group MPs, and he said that he thinks that they should all call by-elections. And my trouble with that is that the politicians themselves are probably more consistent in their messaging than the party that they stood for before. Take, for example, Chuka Umunna in Streatham. He was a Labour MP and he's resigned from the Labour Party. But not because his views have changed, but because the party's views have changed. So there's more consistency in him staying as an MP than if we called a by-election and then suddenly the Labour Party moved further to the left. He is more consistent in his brand, in his message, than the Labour Party is. I can see why it's tempting to pull up the drawbridge and build some walls and protect ourselves from the unknown, but that's the exact opposite of what we should be doing. We should be welcoming migrants with open arms. We should be celebrating the contribution of EU citizens and the NHS. Our schools, our education system are so integrated with European workers. And these people have made their homes in the UK for years. And suddenly, they're being told that, they're no longer welcome. And it may not be in those exact words, but that's what they feel. I don't have the answers. I'm not a political theorist. I didn't study politics. But I am annoyed, I'm pissed off, and I'm angry, and I'm inspired. And I hope that you are too. Because we have an opportunity now that won't come round again. And if we mess it up, it's not my future. It's my kids, it's my nephews, it's my family, and it's my friends. There is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where we can define how Britain wants to be seen by the world. For me, that is as part of something bigger. Technology means that I can call my best friend in New Zealand. Why am I crying at this? In an instant. The world is shrinking so much. And yet you want to pull up the drawbridge? Every voice in our community needs to be heard. You may not like what I say. You may disagree with me, or you may love it. And that's fine. We shouldn't be going further to the left or further to the right. We should be coming together in the middle. Because compromise and collaboration and working together is truly what is going to save Britain. Each of us right now has a responsibility to make that difference that we want. I got a text from my best friend's mum last week to say that she was going to be standing as a council candidate in her area of Somerset. And it's those small changes, it's each of us taking responsibility for where we live that is going to make a difference. So if you are tempted to get involved in a campaign, then do it. You have no excuses, you need to be held accountable for this. And if you miss a RuPaul's Drag Race, then you will still sleep, the world still turns, but it will be slightly better because of your great work and contribution. So that was my first video, and thank you for watching. I hope that it was interesting. I don't know how many of these I'm going to make either, but if you have any comments, thoughts on it, I would love to hear them because it is a learning process for me. It's a work in progress. And thank you for watching, I suppose. If you like it, share it, subscribe, and hopefully you will be inspired to make a difference wherever you are. Do we have it? I think we have it. Let's go with that. Let's try that and see. My gosh.